Hey guys, what's going on? JH Vlogs here, back with another video. If you don't know who I am, my name's Joe and I'm a third year student at the University of Reading where I'm studying real estate. And today I want to start a discussion on online exams. Preparing for online exams can be split into 5 key stages: planning, knowledge gathering, knowledge consolidation, implementing and reviewing. Really, you should start by planning to make sure that you can get done everything that you want to before exams start. However, I'm actually going to leave this stage to the last in this video, as it won't make much sense trying to explain it without explaining the other facets of what you're planning for first. If that makes any sense to you? I hope it does. Let's jump into it. So the next stage, knowledge gathering, is about getting as much information on the different topics you're studying for as possible. Now the first protocol for this is compiling all the content you've been given up to this point. So going through your lectures, going through your seminars, going through your tutorials, making sure you've completed them all, making sure you've got notes on them all, and you know how to use them in a question coming up. Having the knowledge from all of these will give you the tools you need in order to pass the exam. However, in the world of online exams and given their nature being open book, it's critical that you go beyond this if you want to secure higher marks. That will involve finding your own new, unique sources that no other students have. Now, obviously, you can't do this immediately. Well, I'd advise starting by doing your recommended reading. Again, you'll be given reading lists for each module and each topic you have to cover. If you go through and start by reading all of those, but you can get even higher marks if you're then able to find your own unique, new pop-in sources that nobody else has found. It just gives the markers something new to read when they just don't have to read the same content over and over again. Now, to find these, I'd recommend either looking in the references of your recommended reading. So which sources did they cite? What did they include within their paper? Where could you go on and find another version of that? Or the second way is if you can type into Google Scholar different variations around the topic you're studying, and if you can find a review paper, that is absolutely a gold mine. A review paper is essentially a paper that reviews other papers. So its name makes a lot of sense, but why it can be gold dust to you is the fact that A, it lists lots of other sources on that topic area that have all been credited to a high level. But secondly, it also highlights the strengths and weaknesses and the flaws of each argument, so it can help to shape your own thinking when you then begin reading that source, obviously drawing your own original conclusions. Moving on to consolidation, this was traditionally a massive part of exam preparation, and it basically involved taking all the knowledge that you gathered, condensing it and learning it and being able to memorize facts. I would say this is no longer as big of a concern, because again, with being online exams, being open book, your computer can save all the information. It's much more powerful if you can remember outlines of topics to then be able to go back and find them in your notes, which will have the exact facts and references and so on. Given that exams are open book, I think it's a lot more important to be able to know where you can find those facts and a general outline of them rather than memorizing specific dates. You can use the time you would have dedicated to, say, memorizing facts and key dates and whatever. You could spend that either gathering more info, gathering more facts, or refining your writing style, which I'll come on to later. Obviously, you can't get rid of this section altogether. You can't just not try and remember any arguments or anything like that, but it's just, all you need to remember is the outlines and then where you can find them on the exam day. So for me in this stage, what I'll probably do is create mind maps. So then when a question comes up, I can look at the mind map for the topic area and say, okay, there's this, there's this, there's this. I know where to find it. I can go off and I can structure an argument and an essay around that. Creating mind maps like this, first of all, stop me just from rambling and having nothing that connects and just free flowing. It gives me the blocks I can then put together and I can see in advance, rather than just regurgitating info onto a page and then try to organize it. And then having it down on paper can help me figure out if I'm missing anything. I don't know if you've ever had this on a closed book exam where 5 minutes after the exam is handed in, you can just think of that extra point that would have saved you, whereas having it on a mind map that you can then explore and move around and suit to your needs can help you tick off everything and make sure that you've got it all down. Just selecting the key information that will be needed for that question on that day. Which ties into the next section of implementation, and that is essentially putting all of this into practice, and it's going through questions under exam pressures and conditions. When looking for questions in order to do this implementation stage, I first recommend looking at past papers that may be on your university website, followed by going through any seminar or tutorial questions. There'll normally be a reason why they've set them. It could be angling you to think a certain way, or it could be a hint of what could come up and what you may need to think about. If and when you exhaust all of these sources, you could then move on to, say, setting your own questions from lecture content. Maybe content was more heavily geared towards certain topics. Maybe you should look at those a second time. Or maybe your lectures just contain other questions that you could then answer in a full essay format. Doing practice questions in exam conditions is an amazing way to get you ready for the exam itself, and it puts you in line to do the next stage, and that is the reviewing. Now, reviewing is absolutely pivotal to getting higher marks. When you finish the implementation stage, you basically need to go back through your work and review everything. Look at your essay. First of all, is it structured well? Are you missing any points? Is the language floundering? Was it hard to find the points you wanted to write that essay? What was it you think you can improve? Now, some of these stages you can only do on your own. So, okay, let's say you've taken all these notes, comes to an essay, were you able to find them? Yes, no. Did you find that easy? Okay. Up to yourself. Whereas with different parts, you can start to get other people's opinions in. So say sending an email to your lecturer, hi, I've done this practice essay on this question. Could you tell me about my structure? Like, is it good? Is it bad? It's amazing how many marks you can gain from just having a clear structure that gets your message across. I would say that a student with an average amount of knowledge, but a brilliant essay structure, will probably end up getting a lot higher marks than somebody who's got all the knowledge in the world, but a very poor means of conveying it. It really is amazing how much of your grade it makes up, so it's worth getting it nailed. Lecturers don't always respond around exam time, partly because they're not allowed to in some cases, but you may have to look for other people. Now, a lot of people say for some reason, ask your family and friends, but if they haven't got a lot of knowledge in that topic area, it's not really going to be that much help to you. If you could find a buddy, say, on your course or something, where you could both agree beforehand to go through a question and then review each other's answers, that could be another way to do it, and that could be a lot more fruitful. If you were to both go away, set yourselves a question, answer it, come back with each other, and not pick each other's and steal each other's ideas, but more look at your pieces of work individually and reflect, okay, maybe remove your joining words, maybe change your punctuation. Okay, you could probably do with some more evidence to back up this point, and basically review your pieces individually. This section will then form a loop with the other section. So, okay, I've done this essay, I've reviewed it, I've decided my structure needs improving, I'm going to go back and do that. Then I'm going to implement it again, then I'm going to review it again. Okay, now it's that I could do with more facts to back up my point. So I'm going to go and do some more knowledge reading, then I'm going to implement it again, then I'm going to review again. Okay, this time it's the fact that my spag was wrong. And that way, each one of your essays should and could be better than the last one. Moving on to the planning section, it ultimately comes down to getting everything you want done before exams start and making sure that you get the right balance of the methods above. So instead of just saying, right, I'm going to do 2 lectures a day, question the why. Come up with dates. So, right, okay, I want to finish my lectures 2 weeks before my first exam. So that means I've got to complete 3 lectures a day from now on as an average. Right, I'm going to go and do 3 lectures a day. Gives you a bit more of a reason why you're doing it, and it can help you to make sure you're getting it all done. Because I said, now you're doing 3 lectures, not 2. Reviewing is also key with this planning stage though. So say, using the example above, that you have to do 3 lectures a day, maybe that's completely unsustainable, maybe that's way too much work, or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you're getting that done in like half a day and you feel you're spending more time studying. Don't be afraid to like review and change and increase or decrease your workload appropriately. As mentioned on the review stage, you also have to plan which method to use at which point, and this will be completely independent to you. Everybody's different, and it'll also be from subject to subject. It could be different. Again, it could be knowledge gathering and you may need to spend more time on that, or it could be your structure, like I keep mentioning, spending more time on that. But yeah, for me personally, I tend to spend a lot more time on knowledge gathering and knowledge consolidation at the start, and then as we get closer and closer to the exams, I'll fall away and do less time on that, and I spend a lot more time implementing, reviewing. Planning can just help you to refine a time within which to get everything done, rather than just saying, okay, I'm going to do 2 lectures, and then it gets to a week before your exams and you realise you've done nothing else but just finish the lectures. In the planning stage, it's also crucial that you map out your exam period. So for instance, say if you've just got 2 exams, again, I've made this quite basic, but say one's at the start of May and one's at the end of May. In April, it doesn't make sense to split the workload between these 2 evenly. It makes a lot more sense to do more on the first topic, knowing that you've got the rest of May to spend on the second topic, than it does just say applying a flat rate to all subjects. Now, if you're really pushed for time, there is something else you can do in this planning stage that can help you save time, but again, caution, it is quite risky. Now, for an example of this, over the course of a year, let's say that you had to study 8 topics for one module, and on the exam paper, 6 topics would appear, of which you had to answer 2 questions. Technically, you could get away with revising only 5 topics, but if a horrific question comes up on the day and you really can't answer it, you're a bit stuck, and it means you have to tackle that difficult question head on and face it. I prefer to take the extra time, and that gives myself more flexibility on exam day by covering more topics. That allows me to pick a nicer question. But if you are really pushed for time, it is a gamble you could take. Something that I have a preference for, but I thought I would share it with you as it is a possibility you can take. And on that, I think that's the final thing I have to share today. Thank you very much for your time.